Guy comes into my shop last spring. 2019 F-150, 3.5 EcoBoost, 63,000 miles. Started ticking on cold starts. The kind of tick that gets quieter as the engine warms up. Worst kind. Means the cam phasers aren't getting oil fast enough at startup. I asked what happened. He'd been pushing the truck hard leaving job sites. Full throttle pulls, high revs. He figured the engine could handle it. He was right. He was just wrong about when. The ticking wasn't from redlining. It was from redlining before the oil was ready. That's the whole conversation. I'm RJ. 20 years on Fords. Here's what you need to know. Rule number 1, redline is not automatically bad. Ford sets the rev limit on the 3.5 EcoBoost at around 6,000 RPM. The 5.0 Coyote around 6,500. These are not the limits of what the engine can physically handle. They're conservative limits that protect an engine across a wide range of conditions, temperatures, and maintenance levels. A fully warmed, properly maintained F-150 can handle the rev limit. That's what it was designed for. The rev limiters exist to protect the engine from unusual situations, not to mark the edge of where it starts dying. What kills F-150 engines isn't the tachometer going high. It's the conditions under which it goes high. Get those wrong and any RPM level becomes damaging. Get them right, and hitting the limit occasionally is not a problem. The rev limit is not a danger zone, it's a safety boundary around a zone the engine is designed to operate in. Rule number 2, cold oil is the real killer. The coolant temperature gauge is not telling you what you think it is. It tells you when the coolant reached operating temperature. It does not tell you when the oil is ready. On a turbocharged EcoBoost, the difference between those two things matters more than almost anything else. Oil temperature lags behind coolant by 5 to 10 minutes under normal driving. In cold weather, that gap is larger. Cold oil is thicker. It doesn't reach the cam phaser solenoids as fast. It doesn't build film pressure at the turbo bearings as reliably. The components at the top of the engine, phasers, timing chain guides, VCT actuators, are the last to get proper lubrication and the most sensitive to inadequate flow under load. The guy with the ticking EcoBoost hadn't done cold starts and immediately floored it. He drove a few miles to the job site and left hard, what felt like a warm engine. The coolant gauge said normal. The oil was still catching up. 3 miles at 0 degrees is not a warm engine. The coolant gauge tells you the coolant is warm. It doesn't tell you the oil is ready. On an EcoBoost, those are very different things. Rule number 3, load matters more than RPM. 5,500 RPM on warm oil, flat highway, partial throttle, usually fine. 2,000 RPM, towing uphill with cold oil and the pedal on the floor, that's where bearings get hurt. High RPM at light load means the engine is spinning quickly. Oil is circulating well, combustion pressure is normal. High load at low RPM means high cylinder pressure per revolution. The force of the pistons is maximized, bearing loads are extreme, and the oil system works harder per revolution to manage the stress. The engine isn't struggling from the RPM, it's struggling from the force. This is lugging. When you're in too high a gear and the engine strains to push the truck forward, you can feel the whole drivetrain working against itself. That strain is cylinder pressure the components weren't designed to handle continuously at those RPM levels. For F-150 tow rigs, this is exactly why tow haul mode matters. It keeps the transmission in the right gear, keeps the engine in its power band under load, and is actually easier on the engine than the alternative. High RPM is not the energy. High load at low RPM is. Keep the engine in its power band under load. Rule number 4, EcoBoost and Coyote are different conversations. The 5.0 Coyote is naturally aspirated. It makes power through displacement and revs. It breathes clean air, combustion is straightforward, and a warm, well-maintained Coyote is genuinely happy being revved. It was designed to produce power across a wide RPM range. A warm Coyote likes RPM. A cold EcoBoost hates impatience. The 3.5 EcoBoost makes power through boost pressure from 2 turbos in addition to displacement and revs, 2 additional heat sources, 2 components that depend on oil pressure and temperature. Combustion pressures significantly higher than a naturally aspirated engine. The EcoBoost at full throttle and high RPM is a more complex mechanical event. The EcoBoost also has direct injection. Fuel sprays directly into the cylinder, not through the intake port. Efficient and powerful. It also means fuel never washes the back of the intake valves, so carbon from the PCV system builds up there, regardless of how you drive. More on that in the next section. Both engines handle occasional high RPM use when warm and properly maintained, but the EcoBoost requires more discipline around warm-up time and oil quality. The margin for error is smaller on a forced induction engine. Coyote, rev when warm, drive with confidence. EcoBoost, same rules, less margin. Oil quality and warm-up matter more. Rule number 5, the Italian tune-up, what it can and can't fix. The idea, drive hard at a high RPM, clean deposits out of the engine. Partially true, but the part that's true is probably not the part most EcoBoost owners are hoping for. High RPM driving helps in specific ways. It gets the engine and exhaust system genuinely hot, burning off soft carbon deposits in the combustion chamber and on the piston crown. It runs injectors at full duty cycle, keeping spray patterns clean. It gives the exhaust system the heat it needs to function efficiently. For a truck that lives at low RPM and stop-and-go traffic, an occasional hard pull is genuinely beneficial for these components. Here's what it can't do on an EcoBoost. It can't clean the intake valves. On a direct injection engine, fuel bypasses the intake port entirely. It never touches the back of those valves. Carbon that builds up there comes from oil vapor in the PCV system, and it accumulates, regardless of RPM. Running the engine hard actually increases blow-by slightly, which can make valve carbon worse, not better. When an EcoBoost owner tells me they've been doing redline pulls to clean the engine, I have to explain what's actually happening. The combustion chamber may be getting some benefit. The intake valves, where carbon actually restricts airflow and causes rough idle and hesitation, they're not being touched by that exercise. Those need walnut blasting. No amount of Italian tune-up addresses that. High RPM helps combustion deposits and injector cleanliness. It does not touch EcoBoost intake valve carbon. Those are different problems requiring different solutions. I put together a complete Ford longevity handbook for F-150 owners trying to get these trucks past 200,000 miles. Oil intervals, EcoBoost carbon service schedules, transmission survival rules, all the stuff Ford barely explains. It's called the Ford Longevity Blueprint. Links in the description. Rule number 6, the real danger, mechanical over-rev. Everything so far assumes the rev limiter is doing its job. During normal acceleration, it is. Floor the gas, RPM climbs, limiter cuts fuel, engine stays at the limit. Fine. The rev limiter can't protect the engine from a bad downshift. On a manual transmission, selecting the wrong gear at speed, grabbing second instead of fourth at 50 miles an hour, instantly forces the engine to match wheel speed. The RPM spikes faster than the fuel cut can respond. This is the money shift. Valve float at extreme RPM. Connecting rods under forces they weren't designed for. Immediate catastrophic damage. That's how you throw a rod or bend valves in seconds. On modern F-150s with automatic and 10-speed transmissions, the TCM prevents this scenario. It won't allow a downshift that would cause it. But the principle matters for towing downhill. In too high a gear on a steep descent with a loaded trailer, gravity and weight can push RPM into territory the engine isn't expecting. This is why using engine braking properly matters. Holding a lower gear uses the engine's compression resistance to control speed and keeps RPM in a safe range. The rev limiter protects you during acceleration. It doesn't protect you from mechanical over-rev. That's a different failure mode entirely. Rule number 7, older and high-mileage F-150s change the math. A 2023 F-150 with 20,000 miles is a different machine than a 2014 with 180,000, even with the same engine designation. The metal wears slowly. The rubber and plastic age fast. That's why older F-150s suddenly develop weird failures after hard pulls. Cam phasers develop more slop in their mechanisms. Timing chains stretch incrementally. Vacuum lines get brittle. Valve cover gaskets harden. Accessory belts fray internally. These don't wear from use the way metal does. They deteriorate from heat cycling and time. A truck with 150,000 miles is carrying years of thermal stress in every rubber seal and plastic housing in the engine bay. When you push a high-mileage engine hard, high RPM, full throttle, you're stress testing all of it simultaneously. The metal usually handles it fine. A hardened vacuum line with a small crack might not. An accessory belt with internal fraying might let go. A cam phaser that's been marginal for 10,000 miles might cross the threshold. This doesn't mean you never push a high-mileage F-150. It means hard driving on an older truck is diagnostic as much as it is driving. If something was going to fail soon, this is when it surfaces. High-mileage redline use exposes what was already compromised. The engine usually survives. The aged supporting components sometimes don't. Rule number 8. When redlining is actually good. After 7 rules about conditions and risks, here's when pushing the engine hard is genuinely the right thing to do. A fully warm engine, coolant at operating temperature, oil ready, on clean oil within its service interval, in a truck with no warning lights and no known issues. Doing a short, full throttle pull to or near the rev limit is good for the engine. Not acceptable, good. It circulates oil at high flow through every passage. It runs injectors at full duty cycle. It gets the exhaust hot enough to burn off soft deposits. It exercises the variable cam timing system through its full range under real load. On naturally aspirated engines like the Coyote, it produces peak power, which is when combustion is most efficient. Trucks that never get pushed, light throttle commuters that see nothing but low RPM parking lot driving, actually accumulate certain problems faster. Injectors get lazy. Throttle bodies get sticky. Carbon builds on piston crowns from incomplete combustion at low load. The occasional hard pull resets all of that. Once a week. Fully warm, clean oil, no warning lights. Short pull to the limit and back to normal. That is maintenance, not abuse. Ford Longevity Blueprint is in the description. If this helped, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.